I made this film because I care about my little sister, next generation, my friends, my family in Japan, and for me it's my love letter to Japan. What I want to do through this film is to be able to open up the conversation, and I've been traveling with this film and I see so much potential to use this film as a social impact conversation way of communicating. So I generally don't like to have a tag or roles or label myself. I don't usually introduce myself as an activist, but I am activist. I think I'm using the film to talk about this issue. So in a way, I think I'm an activist. I have a chance to talk about what happened to me, which has been ignored. I'm scared, but all I want to do is talk about the truth. For me, I think documenting part was helpful as a journalist. Because I had journalistic background, I could keep documenting what was happening around me. But of course, when we all went into the editing room, that was the time I had to see as a film, as a director. So that was a completely different way of thinking this, how I look, how I tell this story. I think as a journalist, it's not common, or it's almost breaking the traditional rule that you talk about yourself, you cover about your own case. First of all, that was completely, different work as a journalist. Other points were like I didn't feel fair to put today's voice from me. Didn't want to do any voiceover or putting my voice from today. But I feel like it's justifies if I use my own diary or the notebook that I was using around that time. I followed these diaries and tried to remember where I was writing and where I was recording the audio, where I had the phone conversation. So I took my small camera to shoot the perspective, the city, the landscape, and what kind of images I was looking at when I was having these moments. The most tricky part to find a balance as a protagonist and director and storyteller. And it's very personal story of mine. It touches about my trauma. We took almost 8-9 years to produce this film, but half of the years, about 4 years, we've been editing. Not just to construct the story, but to find a balance where I feel it's comfortable as director, I guess. Our justice system is not working.
第一回関係方面の取材は一通り。
ただ警視庁や警察庁は They have to know you're a journalist and this can get out. There's no guarantee for my life. I'm not presenting myself as a victim. I'm just presenting myself as a human being who experienced it. As a director, as a journalist. The process of filmmaking was also being able to face myself to get rid of all the labels. I realized at some point there's so many public opinions and views and I have no control, but in the end of the day, I'm the only one who I can define myself. I can't control all these labels, but I can control who I want to be and who I define myself. In this film, I want to be 100% vulnerable and show all the side of it. There are moments that I wasn't really proud of myself as a human being, but I decided to put it because it's all true. We cry sometimes, but we laugh, we drink, we make mistakes, and I wish to communicate all of that through this film.
警察は当初、被害届を受け取ることすら拒んでいました。
Without these recordings, no one would believe what I heard. After Me Too movement, we speak much more and more about sexual violence, but we don't really talk about the power corruption that comes together. And whenever it's the two sets, sexual violence and power corruption, it's really still hard to talk about or to put the lights on. I felt like it's something necessary to talk about through this film, not only in Japan, but everywhere in the world. I think my role as a storyteller is to just keep highlighting what we can change. And there's so many points that we can do, but of course, I'm not the lawmaker. I cannot change the law, but I can start the conversation. And that's what I really wish to do through this film.
I don't want to let people know that this made me shut up.
If something happened to me, promise me to publish this documentary.